Tenlo por seguro. ¿Cómo pensar que la vida puede terminar en un segundo? La vida es polvo, puede esparcirse en un momento. Nada traíste, nada te llevarás, solo lo que había dentro. Ojalá pudiera devolver el tiempo para verte de nuevo, para darte un abrazo y nunca soltarte. Más comprendo que llegó tu tiempo, que Dios te ha llamado para estar a su lado. Así Él lo quiso, pero yo nunca pensé que volviera tanto.
Ya no llores por mí, yo estoy en un lugar lleno de luz, donde existe paz, donde no hay maldad, donde puedo descansar. No llores por mí, está pedo aquí, quiero que seas feliz, que te vaya bien, y cuando te toque partir, espero verte aquí.
Yo te extrañaré.
This time I'd like to have a reading from the Old Testament. Passage, it's Psalm 23, certainly a very time-honored passage of Scripture during the time of funeral. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pasture. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Berniece Moreno, 72, longtime Ogallala resident, embraced God June 26, 2015, in Indian Hills Healthcare Community, surrounded by her family. Berniece Teresa Moreno was born May 4, 1943, in Brule, the daughter of Margarita and Aurelia Raso Romero. She graduated from Brule High School in 1960. On November 10, 1966, Berniece was united in marriage with Philippe Moreno Sr. The couple made their home in Ogallala, and while raising her children, she also was employed at TRW. In 1979, Berniece attended Mid-Plains Community College in North Platte and received her certified nursing aide degree. She was employed at various businesses, including Lopalama Restaurant and Indian Hills Manor, retiring in 1989. Her hobbies included reading, writing, cooking, sewing, and gardening. She especially enjoyed going fishing with the family. Preceding her in death were her parents, one sister, Frances Beaton, grandson Chester Aguilar Jr., and son-in-law Dennis Sigwing. Survivors include her children, Philip Moreno of North Platte, Christina Sigwing of Ogallala, Isabel Aguilar, and Anna Rodriguez, all of San Antonio, Texas. Jessica Liaszewski of Julesburg, Colorado, and Jennifer Moreno of Omaha. Two brothers, Miguel Romero Jr. of Centralia, Washington, and Richard Romero of North Platte. Four sisters, Marguerite Fryer of Sterling, Colorado, Roseanne Torres of North Platte, Mary Lou Morales of Alvarado, Texas, and Beatrice Juarez of Ogallala. 16 grandchildren and 13 great-grandchildren. The family chose cremation. The memorial service will be at 10 o'clock a.m. on Wednesday, July 1st in Draucker Funeral Home. Reverend John Howe of Lighthouse Baptist Church will officiate. The service will be live streamed from drauckerfuneralhome.com for those unable to attend. A memorial has been established in her memory. Inurement is in the Ogallala Cemetery. Online condolences may be sent to drauckerfuneralhome.com. Draucker Funeral Home of Ogallala is in charge of the arrangements. One other note: there will be a food a time to eat following the interment. So everybody is invited to go to the fairgrounds, and out there the meal will be served out there. So everybody is invited to that after the services out at the cemetery. Okay, at this time we have a slide presentation.
La cruz de madera de la más corriente. Eso es lo que pido cuando yo me muera. Yo no quiero lujo ni mesa de adobe, no quiero una casa me miraron llorando tu querer. Y no me da vergüenza que aún con la experiencia que la vida me dio, a tu amor yo me aferro y aunque ya no lo tengo, no te puedo olvidar. A tu amor yo me aferro y aunque ya no lo tengo, no te puedo olvidar. ¿De qué manera te olvido? ¿De qué manera yo entierro este cariño maldito que a día de manera te olvido? Y te miro en cualquier gente y tú no quieres ni verme porque te conviene callar nuestro amor. ¿De qué manera te olvido? ¿De qué manera yo entierro este cariño maldito que a diario atormenta a mi corazón? ¿De qué manera te olvido? Si te digo en cualquier gente, no quieres ni verme, porque te conviene callar nuestro amor.
At this time, I'd like to have Stephanie, granddaughter, come up and have a presentation.
We just had a memory box made with some of the family, just write memories of Grandma. I'll just share a few with you guys. This one's from Desiree. Grandma, I love you so much, and I wish I could have seen you more. I do have plenty of memories, though. I remember the girly advice you would give me and Ashley. I also remember constantly begging you to come to Texas, but coming to see you in Nebraska was never a problem. You have so many people that love you, and I am blessed to be part of that. Love always. This one from Carlos. I liked when my grandma listened to her Mexican music. One of the things I loved about going to Grandma's house when I was little was how she always had rice, beans, and tortillas ready for me. Sherry. I remember the summer I stayed with Grandma when I was 18. Aunt Berniece would take the time to come over every day to make sure Grandma was doing okay. It showed me how she thought of Grandma and made time for her. I love my Aunt Berniece and always will. Dora. I remember about 14 years ago I came over to Aunt Bernice's house with a payday candy bar. And Bernice told me how it was her favorite candy. I ended up thinking to myself how great it would be to have the whole thing to myself. But I gave her half. Savannah, a sad day, Savannah. I always remember thrift store shopping and going garage selling and going over to Grandma's house for dinner. I also love spending the night with her. And that's for me. I love you so much, Grandma. You're amazing. And you loved how we always made you feel like time never passed when we saw you. So happy Bam Bam met you. So happy I heard your voice and said love you. Happy you met my husband. We love you tons. Watch over everyone. Our angels. Love Ariana and love Julie. Many good memories. Always remember Aunt Bernice being a really good cook. And when I was a kid, I lived out of town and wanted to come and visit. She always let me stay at her house. Oh, Stevie. I remember a time when Grandma gave me a massage that put me to sleep faster than Aunt Annie's back rubs. For everyone that has had the honor of receiving a massage from Aunt Annie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Christian. If you don't drive that car right, I'm gonna knock your head off. Jen. I remember all the times we went and visited you, Nicolette. Even though I was young, I still remember you. Love you, Anna. I remember my mom had stopped by to say hi before we left. Always good talks. It's awesome. When Grandma was young, she was a good dancer. I know she's in a better place. Love Lorraine. I have many memories, and I enjoy every single one. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
She Is Gone by David Harkin. You can shed tears that she is gone, or you can smile because she has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that she'll come back, or you can open your eyes and see all she's left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see her, or you can be full of the love you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember her and only that she's gone, or you can cherish her memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back. Or you can do what she'd want. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. This time we'll have a song, I Can Only Imagine by Mercy Me.
What my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Yeah. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I do is forever worship you. I can only imagine, yeah. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your I can only imagine.
I've taken for a New Testament reading, again, one that is probably known to most everybody. It comes from the book of John, chapter 3. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. When I began to look at some of the things that I had discussed with the family, it was interesting to have a little notepad, and you begin to talk about things, and as ideas begin to formulate, I had listened to a couple of things that they had said, and began to jot them down. One of them was the word legacy, the word life. They had the word. Let's see. They had another word. Joy. They had the word laugh and humor. A lot of these things kind of went together, and I tried to draw together these thoughts, these words, and I imagine that if I had had time to ask other members of the family and relatives and whatnot, could have had a couple of other phrases or catchwords or what have you. But I want to have us think today about legacy, because Berniece has left every one of us a legacy. No matter how close you were to her, or as a relative or grandchild or whatever, legacy has been left to each and every one of us. One has said that legacy is an inheritance. It is something that is left behind. Or it can be said that it's an inheritance rightly transferred. A transferred possession. And I think that has more value to it than anything else. Because oftentimes we think of an inheritance and, a will is read and things are handed out. Whether it's the old Bible or whether it's some other possession that the loved one has had. But what I see is the fact that it is not, an inheritance does not have to be something tangible. And today, here, I believe that that's what it is. It's not something tangible, except that it's tangible in your heart. And from everything that I saw, I could look at the presentation there. And if I walked away with nothing else, and I thought that was a very nice presentation, if I walked away with nothing else from that presentation, it was family. If you notice, as I noticed, every one of those things every one of the pictures had to do with family. Getting together, enjoying life. If it was like myself, my wife had a pretty good big family, and when we would get together, it was more time spent on, now who are you again? Because it's hard to remember everybody that you knew, that you know. One has said this: yesterday is a canceled check, tomorrow is a promissory note. Today is the only cash you have, so spend it wisely. Good words. in the book of Psalms, chapter 8 and verse 2, it says, "Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength." This quote is from a lady, and she wrote children's books. So it kind of goes along with that, you know, sometimes in the simplest things, the simplest sayings, or the simplest things we do, children do. There's a wealth of information. There's a wealth of learning even in that. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, it says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance." And this is another, as we talked, as the family and I talked, you know, this immediately came to my mind because it invokes the same type of thoughts that they had spoken of their mother. And I imagine that if we had asked her brothers and sisters, that may have said the same thing, enjoying life, enjoying family, getting together because it's just fun. A time for every purpose. Einstein said this: "The only reason for time is so that everything doesn't happen at once." Anyhow, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, the theme or the thought is that the Lord is in charge of your life. To everything there is a purpose. To everything there is a time. And when I think about this, it teaches us, it tells us also, to everything there is a season. That tells me that life is in motion. I don't know what it would be like living in an area, a part of the country or what have you, that didn't have seasons. You know, the cold and maybe not the cold, but the trees and all of those things. But to everything there is a season, and that's the way our life is. And that's what we celebrate right now, a time of the season when Berniece has passed away. That's just part of it. That's part of it. That's part of life. And then it says a time. And time. Your life is faceted. And what it means is that the whole is not just round and whatnot, but there are sides, there are corners. There are parts to it that this facet was part of my life and it was enjoyed by doing certain things. And here's another facet that was enjoyed at a different time in life. But time tells me that life is faceted. And so it is. Many sides to Bernice's life. Many sides to your life as well. So don't forget, you look at your life and what has happened and where you came from, what you were as a child, what you are today, what you will be as you get older, different facets of your life. Don't forget them. A purpose. It says a purpose. You know what that says? Is that life is personal. But it is not private. What do I mean? Everyone's your own person. You have your own mind, your own philosophies, etc. That's you. That's what makes you. But there's nobody that is private. And when I think about Bernice, there was nothing private there. everyone here has been touched by her love. Everybody has been touched by her laughter, her humor. Okay? Talked with one individual from work, and I was saying, what do you remember? And she says, oh, I remember us going out to Scotts Bluff and going bowling. And then she said something else I'm not going to repeat. But they had fun. Yeah, I can't do that in this. No. But she was a woman of fun and humor. And that's good. Woe be to the person that doesn't have that element of her. And knowing when to use it. So anyhow, in Ecclesiastes, it teaches us that the Lord is the key to life. In the song that was played, Yo te extrañar. Okay, did I say it right? No, I know I didn't. I looked up the English translation for it, and as I read the English translation, it's a very beautiful song. Very beautiful. And at the end, in English, it said this: "Don't cry for me. It's so beautiful here. I want you to be happy. I hope that everything goes well for you. And when it's time, and when it's your time to go, I hope to see you there." Yeah, that's good, huh? Sometimes you get the best preaching from just the simple things. That's what I was telling the kids. I was telling them, you know, there's more to enjoy and understand about Berniece through the things that you say than what I say. This is an explanation, a help from God's Word. But you live the life. And so when some of the family members come and give their testimony of who Berniece was to them, that hits the nail on the head. There was another thing as we talked that made me kind of from the same vein about who she was. Another passage of Scripture, it was in Proverbs 31. And in that we understand the character, not a character, but your character, that which makes you different from everybody else. Character is the key to a person. You see, you are who you are because you have established what you want to be. I heard the words, again I repeat, I heard the words service. She was a woman of service. One of the kids said she's a rock. I think Philip said that. She was a rock to the family. And then she was best. Strong. Humor. Again, it has been said, reputation is what others think of us. Character is what God knows us to be. You see, we can all have a reputation that's built on what is the appearance. But your character is what God sees in the stillness of our lives. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. And again, as we think to ourselves about the time that we are here and the time in the past, we look and we say to ourselves, who can find a virtuous woman? Now, I would ask, what does the word virtuous mean to you? And in all reality, I thought myself that it meant somebody that was very religious and very righteous. And everybody knew it. That's not what it means. Who can find a virtuous woman? Virtue means this: courage in the face of danger. It means to be firm. It means to endure. It is an attribute given to people. Some of its words that are like its synonyms: might, strength, power, and valiant. And you see, that's a cornerstone of Bernice's character. That's what you saw, what she is. Virtue. Who can find a virtuous woman? You see, the 10th verse says this: who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is above rubies. In the 25th verse it says, strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. No fears, no regrets. You know, that's one of the greatest things, that you could go throughout your life having no fears about what you've done or said, and having no regrets over it either. And then it says in verse 26 about the virtuous woman, she openeth her mouth with wisdom. You know, some people, they're just somebody, like when E.F. Hutton speaks, everybody listens. It's an advertisement. But there are some people that when they talk, you just hold back. You don't sit there and question it. You just try to understand what is she saying. You know, and if you listen to what they say, and this is again some of the things that I hear. She was a woman of wisdom, and when her mouth spoke, when she spoke, most oftentimes, she listened. She looked the way, verse 27, she looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. She was not afraid to work. She was not afraid to work. And to bring that which was necessary back to the family, that they too might understand the value of hard work. And then the best, when her children rise up and call her blessed. I think, would that not be something that you would say as your family, as a family? You would rise up and call her blessed because you realize that her character was standing. It was strength to you. It was your rock. Many daughters have done virtuous. This is why I said the virtuous woman. It's not that she's the only one with virtue, but many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Then I come to John 3:16. John 3:16 is oftentimes overlooked in the power. We were saying, when E.F. Hutton speaks, we look at this passage, at this verse, John 3:16, and we almost overlook the significance of what the writer is trying to say to us. We take one section and then we throw out the rest. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish. Now we can misinterpret that and say perish as we're today talking about somebody who dies. But you read it and it can't really do it talking about death. Because it talks about eternal life. Whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. You see, in this verse, Jesus says, you must be born again. And so we observe from John 3:16 the element of God's testimony. Then from From Psalm 22, 3 and 4, we see the trilogy. 22 is talked about Christ's death, 23 is talked about his comforting death, 24 is talked about his resurrection and his power in the resurrection. And finally, in John 3, verse 36, we read these words, "He that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life, and he that believeth not the Son hath not, it shall not see life, but the wrath of God is upon him." Who is the King of glory? The hymn writer asks. The Lord, strong and mighty. This time we'll sing the song Amazing Grace in the Spanish version.
Oh,
close us in a word of prayer.
Dear Lord, relying on the promises to us, we turn to you and trust that our sister, mother, grandmother, aunt is with you and that she's enjoying your love and embrace. You alone know how she loved the best she could and how she faithfully endured the struggles that she faced. You know the graces you gave her, and you know the grace she was for us and for so many. For all the ways she truly loved, the way you love her, be rewarded, Lord. May she enjoy the communion with all her family and friends who are with you. Lord, we know she still loves us. We're still here on earth. We ask you that you might listen to her prayer for us, help us to grow into a new and deep relationship with her. Now as long and now as we long for the day when we will meet in your embrace. Amen.
We want to remind you also about the food, the serving will happen at the Keith County Fairgrounds following the service at the cemetery.